Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, you are listening to episode 83, What Self-Care Really Means. How are you guys doing, my friends? How are you? I'm fantastic. Right now, recording the show, we are having the first 80-degree day outside that we've had yet this year in Virginia, and that just makes me a happy camper. So if you have not done so, take a moment to hit subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts so that you'll always know when I have a new show out. I'm pretty regular on Mondays is my show day. 2, sometimes 3 times a month, but check every Monday for a new episode. And so as I was writing my notes too for this show, it was just a great moment. It was a gorgeous Saturday afternoon in May, and I just was thinking about you guys, thinking about my listeners and everything that the world is going through right now, heavy stuff that I feel like is lightening up. And probably by the time this show airs, I think things will be a little bit better. With the quarantine, we're getting there slowly, but I want you guys to know that I'm thinking about you, and I hope that these messages find the right people, right? And find the people who need to hear it, and especially if you've been impacted in some way. This is definitely a difficult time, economically and personally and emotionally for us, but I do think that there are good things that are coming out of this without a doubt. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and say I think there's going to be more good that comes out of this than bad, for sure. There are reasons for everything, and this is certainly no exception. But so I'm here for you, and I hope that this show helps you as we go through a transition, right? We're transitioning seasons, but we're also kind of transitioning globally to a new post-pandemic world. We'll see what that holds for us. But I am optimistic. Spring and summer are a time of renewal, refresh, new beginning, and I want you to tap into that right now. We need that feeling of optimism more than ever right now. So I want to let you guys know too, I think I mentioned this last week, but I want to mention it again. I've done something new and cool. I've started a LinkedIn group, and I would love for you to join me. Okay, I've wound down my Facebook presence, which is something I've been planning to do for a while. It's just not where I spend most of my time. I'm still on there, but I've transitioned my group to LinkedIn, and I'm building a new community there, and I would love for you to follow me. The good news is this is somewhere where I will be even more regularly. I'm in it every single day. I would love for you to engage with me so you can get the benefit out of it. It's a free way to connect with me, ask questions, connect with other people too, and get help from them for no cost. There's no reason not to do it. So head on over to LinkedIn, find my group, Career Uprising Premium Online Community. I'm so crappy at naming things, guys. I hope that's an okay name. It's really long. I'm so bad at naming things, cute, catchy names. So it is what it is. I have a group on LinkedIn. Go find it. You can go to my profile, follow me as well. That's a good way to find the group as well. But just do a search for it. It's free and open to the public, and it's going to add a tremendous amount of value. So I hope I see you there. So speaking of the pandemic and everything that's going on, I know everyone's talking about that, but what I want to talk to you about, I think, is timely for that situation, but it's always relevant. And I want to talk about self-care, because it's really during times like this where you hear the word self-care thrown around a lot. In fact, this is already kind of a big thing in the coaching world and self-help advice everywhere, right? There's always talk about self-care and what are you doing for self-care these days? And it's good, but I think that most people define it in a really superficial way. So I'm going to offer you a completely different definition and just share with you what I think self-care is and should be. Because most people, when you think of self-care, what do you think of? I think you think of a hot bubble bath and reading a book and maybe to having an afternoon of alone time to yourself, right? Or just, calling a friend, having a glass of wine, whatever it might be for you, right? And that is the lamest definition of self-care. Now, those things are fine to do, totally fine to do. I do those things. More power to you. But my problem is in labeling those self-care and just leaving it at that and stopping there. What a missed opportunity. I want you to think, what are some things that you could do if you really wanted to take care of yourself, not just for one evening, but for the long term? And what if self-care wasn't just about physical comfort? What if it was also about your emotional health as well? What would that look like? What would that feel like to do something to take care of yourself deep down emotionally? That's what I want to offer up to you today. I want to give you a completely new and much more meaningful definition of what it really means to take care of yourself. And I offer this from a very personal place too, as someone who has practiced all the things I'm going to share with you and still does, right? So essentially what you're going to be getting is kind of like my personal definition of self-care. And I don't think it's one that you've likely heard before. So you can take it or leave it, but I feel very strongly about this, okay? So generally, I think we define self-care really as anything that you do to comfort yourself during a difficult or busy period of time. It's like a way of relieving stress and kind of balancing out your energy, right? You feel your energy gets pulled too far in one direction, so you feel like you need to bring it back and balance it a little bit more. Maybe from work demands, family demands, anything that you're going through. And so we feel the need to comfort ourselves in some way and make things a little bit more positive. And there's nothing wrong with that. And certainly the worst thing that you could do during this time is buffering. Okay, so that's the worst solution. Buffering is anything that you do to avoid feeling your emotions. We buffer with food, drinking alcohol, spending money. There's lots of different things that we can do. And we do those things in place of actually processing and feeling what we're feeling. So that's the opposite of self-care, without a doubt, right? And I think sometimes we do get into a pattern where we think that we're taking care of ourselves by doing that. But that is completely an illusion, and it is the opposite of self-care. So that's the worst direction you could go, kind of an extreme, right? But buffering aside, I don't necessarily think most people do that, although a lot of us do. Most people, when we think of self-care, we probably think of the things I mentioned earlier, right? Oh, take a bubble bath, relax, just go listen to some music, paint your nails, whatever you want to do, right? And I want to say that there's nothing wrong with those things. Of course, those are all natural things. And if they're enjoyable, sure, do them. If it makes you feel better for 15 minutes, absolutely. But what I want you to realize is just how surface level those things are. The care, quote, care that they give you is completely temporary and doesn't have anything to do with the actual problem either. So what happens then when the next stressful thing comes along? And it will. Problems are forever. Problems don't go away. Are any of the things that you are doing in the name of self-care actually taking care of you for the long run and better preparing you to handle the stresses of the future? How will just taking that bubble bath and having that glass of wine prepare you to handle stress better in the future? It won't. Nothing wrong with doing it, but just know you're only scratching the surface. I think the real question is, will this act of self-care help you to grow personally, spiritually, professionally, or in whatever other way you want to? Personally, I define self-care as doing something good for your long-term emotional health and personal growth. So let's take a quick pause. When we come back, I'm going to share with you the number one most powerful act of self-care that I have ever taken and still continue to take. So I'm going to give you a specific example of what I do when I talk about self-care. Okay? You won't want to miss it. We'll be right back. Hey guys, we're on a break for just a minute, and I want to tell you how you can work with me personally as your career coach. My signature program, Career Transformation, is perfectly designed for clients who are going through a major career transition. If you're changing fields, or maybe returning to the workforce after an absence, or even undecided on a career path, this is the solution for you. My coaching process is laser focused and is tailored to your needs. So we'll gain clarity on your path and craft a job search strategy that will support your big career move. So if that sounds amazing, take action now by heading over to my website, careeruprising.com, to learn more about the Career Transformation Program and apply for a phone call with me. All right, let's get back to our show. All right, so I want to share with you guys, as I promised, the number one thing that I personally do for my self-growth or self-care and growth. And it is the reason, above all else, that I have gotten myself to where I am today, where I love my life as much as I do and I have as much freedom personally and professionally and as much income and everything that I have, right? I have only gotten to the place that I am in my personal and professional life by voluntarily putting myself in new situations that are uncomfortable. And very few people would invite that kind of discomfort into their life, right? I think we spend a lot of time avoiding discomfort, thinking, oh, it's bad. If it feels bad, run the other way. But it's the opposite. I know that it's actually good for me to take risks, try new things, speak up, be vulnerable, do something new. When you do these new things and you take risks, it expands your boundaries. It literally expands what is possible for you and what you are comfortable with, which exponentially increases your confidence, your definition of what is realistic, what is possible. There is nothing more exciting than that. What a great concept for taking care of yourself is by challenging yourself, conquering your fears, doing new and uncomfortable things. To me, that is the best possible way to take care of yourself. In starting my business, there were so many things that were uncomfortable about it. There was so much self-doubt. There was so much fear, imposter syndrome, unknowns. How is this going to happen? I don't know how to do this. I've never done it before. Are you kidding me? I am no exception. I had to bust through so much of that. And here I am at the month in May recording this. It's been 5 years since I started my company. And I feel completely different about those things now than I did before because I pushed through them. I took care of myself. Now, I know some of you listening maybe don't believe me. You're a little hesitant, and that's okay. But think about the times when you've really accomplished something new or remarkable or reached a new level in your life. Did you ever do it just by staying the same? Didn't you take any kind of new action or have any kind of new thought? Of course you did. That was self-care. You were doing something that enabled you to grow and expand your boundaries for the future and to learn something new. Personally, I want my definition of self-care to serve me for the long run, not just one evening and make me feel better for 30 minutes, right? Do that. But do these other things in addition to that. Like I said, those things are fine, but they should not be your only definition of self-care. Otherwise, there are so many missed opportunities, and I think that you're missing out on the point of life. Like I said, there's so many ways that starting this business has forced me to grow as a person and really shaped this new definition that I have of self-care. And that increased confidence, that broader perspective that I have, it influences everything. My definition of money and my relationship with it has also changed. My personal relationships have changed. It's got a domino effect. Once you expand your boundaries and your limitations in one area of your life, it is only natural, it's inevitable that that's going to bleed over into other areas of your life, and everything's going to get better. It will. Start with one area of your life and watch everything else change and improve as a result. I'm now doing so many things that I never thought that I would be able to do, and things that I specifically told myself that I wasn't good enough or smart enough or didn't know how to do. All lies. And I took care of myself by pushing through all of that and doing it anyway. And my life looks completely different now than if I had never challenged myself in that way. You can have this level of self-care too, but you're going to have to redefine what it means to you. Beyond the surface level things that you do to take care of your health, exercise, diet, I want you to do all of those things. But I also want you to dig deeper and ask yourself, how can you take care of your emotional health and personal growth for the long run? How can you become more adaptable to change? How can you become a more patient person? How can you set bigger goals? How can you deal with fear and doubt and uncertainty better? These are the real self-care questions that you should be asking yourself. And when you do, the benefits will last a lifetime. And that, my friends, is the ultimate self-care. So I hope this served you. As always, you can learn more about me and get in touch with me at careeruprising.com as well as on LinkedIn. I hope you join my group, and I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show is brought to you by InflowRadio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.